below there. Please ignore the wonky tree behind me for now because it's wonky. I don't know how to fix it. Just ignore. So back in October of last year, I uploaded a hack video and for some reason it blew up pretty crazy and people found it helpful. I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that Jensen Ackles was in the background, you know, so I'm thinking he's gonna go in the thumbnail again. Maybe I'll just perch him. Oh, stay Jensen, stay. Right, he's there. Just imagine you can see him. Most of the hacks in this video are for painters, but there are a couple of hacks in here as well that work for different kinds of artists as well, so I hope that you find this helpful. So if you're like me, you don't really enjoy looking through your huge pot of paintbrushes or pens trying to find the ones that you want. So this is the first hack I've got for you. This keeps your paintbrushes or pens or pencils, I've just used my paintbrushes, nice and organised so you can see them all out properly, they're all separated and you can put them in size order as well, which is very helpful when you're trying to find exactly what you want. For this hack, all you need is a chunk of that nice green foam floral arrangement spongy stuff. And all you need to do is stick all of your paintbrushes or pens or pencils into the block and organise them how you want. I just did mine by big brushes to medium to small brushes, and I just found that was the best way to do it. I then got this nice plastic container that could hold it just to make it look less ugly, and yeah, it's, you know, it's not the most beautiful thing in the world, but I think it's nice to have something that's a bit more organised and arranged and easier to see your belongings. You could even take this as far as using it for your Copic markers if you had a few chunks of them. Just stab the Copic markers in the block and you voila, done. If you're one of the 0.1% of the population that actually enjoys getting up to clean their dirty paint water every 5 minutes, this hack is not for you. I personally am a lazy sod and the thought of getting up to change my paint water fills me with dread. I got better things to do with my time than to keep changing my paint water. And this hack was actually suggested to me in the comments of my previous video and I couldn't believe that I'd not thought of it sooner. So instead of having one glass of very dirty water that fills up quickly, you're gonna have two. And I don't mean fill this one up with water and then make it dirty, and when that's dirty use this one and make that dirty as well. The way that you can prolong the time between changing out your water is you clean out your paintbrush in one glass of water that's going to get quite dirty quite quickly, as it always does. But after you've done that, you take your paintbrush over to the second glass of water and rinse out any remaining paint in that one. So despite how dirty the paint in the left glass is going to get, the glass on the right is going to very, very slowly get dirtier, so it's going to take a long time for that one to need changing out as well. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. For you digital artists out there, this is actually more of a tip than a hack, but I thought I'd stick it in here anyway because I think it's quite helpful. If you're looking at a computer screen for extended periods of time, your eyes are going to get very fatigued, very tired, you're going to find you get headaches. That was something I was suffering with a lot. So you can get yourself some special computer glasses. These are cheap, they're like $10 for me, they sell them on Amazon. They've got special lenses, as you can see, they're kind of yellowy. But basically, not very flattering, but they help to protect your eyes. It kind of makes everything look brighter and more yellow, but it's quite cool, and it's definitely important to protect your eyes, because if you're an artist, protecting your eyes is #1 priority. So, do it. Going back to some painter hacks here. So the first physical paint medium that I actually got into was acrylic. But before I got some watercolours for Christmas, I was really desperate to try out some watercolours and make some of my art look more watercolory. So what I did was I diluted some acrylic paint with water, and this is probably something most people know about, but I thought I'd put it in there for you new artists if you didn't know this. Water down your acrylic paint enough and it will give you a kind of consistency to watercolour paint. It's not going to be as great, it's not going to be as good, but if you're, if you're a student, you can afford more paint, more supplies, you can kind of double up. You can have acrylic and watercolours and have a little bit of fun with it. This is a cheap alternative to using canvases. You can actually paint on wood. This is a piece of wood that I painted on at Christmas time with acrylic paint, and it was a very smooth surface, and I just thought it was a really fun alternative to canvases. It's something that you can get in a home improvement shop. You can get the huge boards of wood like this. You can get them to cut it down into different shapes and sizes. It's a lot cheaper than buying separate canvases, and it's just a bit more fun to work with. It's more sturdy. You probably should prime it first with gesso. I'll leave some links and information down below. I didn't do that with this because it was just a fun hobby, crafty thing that I was doing, but if you are going to buy wood and you want it to last, you need to prime it properly. This next hack is involving those annoying twist-on acrylic paint tubes. Now if you're like me and you're kind of a messy painter and you get paint all over the little outer rim of the paint tube and then you get it on the inside of the lid and then it sticks on there and you can't get it off, then what you can do is you can get some saran wrap, plastic wrap, clear wrap, cling film, shrink wrap, it's called so many different things. Stick that over the end of the tube and then you can twist on the cap, and then the cap is not going to get paint on it and it's not going to make it difficult to get on or off, and it's a lifesaver. This next one is an ingenious idea that I was suggested by one of my lovely commenters on the previous video, and it's just a genius idea I can't believe I didn't think of myself. Now I tend to accidentally put too much paint on my palette or whatever I'm using, and it will often either dry out or I've got to stick it in the fridge with cling film over the top to try and preserve it, which is what I suggested in my previous video. But instead of that, instead of throwing away disposable plates or using a palette, use a Tupperware container, because you have a lid here that keeps the air from getting to it, and as you can see the paint is as wet as it was earlier on when I stuck it in here. It's not dried out in the slightest, and it's just such a great idea. You can obviously get bigger ones than this, but when you do want to dry out and you want to get rid of the paint, take the lid off and just peel it off and it's clean. It's just efficient and it works, and you can just preserve all your paint just by sticking the lid on it. And this is really helpful for anyone that is starting out with art or is just trying to save a bit of money. Get yourself some canvas paper instead of using full-on canvases, especially if you're worried about ruining them or you just don't have the money to keep buying out and paying out for canvases. Canvas paper basically replicates the texture of a canvas, which is really, really nice because you can kind of garner that experience with it and just experiment a bit with how the paint goes on it. So definitely get yourself some of this. It's only a few dollars and there's 10 sheets, so it'll last you a long time. So this is a little bit self-explanatory, but I thought I'd put it in here anyway. I personally own 2 big light boxes with daylight bulbs in them, which are great for filming and things like that, but I also use them each side of me when I'm drawing and painting. In my previous video I talked about getting daylight bulbs in a lamp because they give you the most natural type of light to paint with. So personally I highly recommend getting soft boxes, but it's not really necessary unless you're filming. So whenever you're painting or drawing, always make sure that the lamp you're using is on the opposite side to the hand you write with. So what I mean by this is I'm left-handed, so if I put the lamp on the left side of my hand, it's going to be shadowing over the drawing. So if I put the lamp on the right hand side, it's going to be highlighting my painting and then shadowing on the other side of it. So I haven't got a shadow over what I'm working on. And again, it might be kind of obvious, but if you didn't know that, get some daylight bulbs, put your lamp on the opposite side of your hand, and you'll be well away. This last one was completely makeshift, but I'm really happy with how it came out. Now it's difficult for me because I record most of what I draw, so I really need to have what I'm drawing on flat on the table, so I have to kind of lean over it to properly see it. But it's not good to draw or paint on paper that's flat on the desk, because what you'll find is it gives you kind of a skewed perspective. Like I've drawn things in the past and not been leaning over the top, and I pick it up and it's like stretched longer than I realised it was. It looks totally different from being flat down as it is straight up, and that's why a lot of people have slanted art desks. So you can buy tabletop easels, which are really, really good and helpful, so if you can afford one, highly recommend it. But there is a way you can kind of get away with making your own easel at home for literally no money at all. So what you can do is you can make your own easel at home with a bit of cardboard and some sellotape. I had this nice big bit of cardboard from an old poster frame that I had, but you can take, you know, old boxes and things that you've got in the house. And what I did was I bent one side smaller than the other. The bigger side was basically what was going to serve as my easel. Now this is great, but the thing is, as soon as you try to draw on this, it's going to fall flat, so you need to have something wedged in to stop it from doing that. So you're going to take another piece of cardboard and you're going to fold that. So you're going to take this, you're going to fold that, and you're going to take that to the bottom part of the big piece of cardboard. You're then going to add a little fold on the other piece of the cardboard and tape that to the top part of the sheet of cardboard, just to make another acute angle that's stuck in there and wedging it from falling down. Then you're going to take another piece of tape it from the top part of the cardboard easel, and then tape it all the way down underneath, and this is going to help it from flinging open. And that's it. Those are the hacks I've got for you today. If you have any hacks of your own that I've not mentioned before, I would love to hear them. I might be able to put them in another video. Also, before I go, I'd just like to apologise because I've not announced the winners yet of the 10,000 subscribers giveaway from like a couple of months ago. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pick a winner and put the winner in the description box. So if you entered, go and check that out. I'll leave the link to the video below. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next video.